Hey folks, it's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community. Today's Saturday, November 4th. Hope you're having a great weekend. And in this video, we're going to do another rapid fire news update for October 28th to November 3rd. And again, if you're not familiar with this new format, essentially we try to go over in about 10 to 15 minutes all of the important news articles and pieces that transpired over the last week. And it's not to go into deep dive details, it's just to go over a high level overview and something you may have missed, or if you want to learn more, you can read more into it and do so on your own time. Before we get to it though, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff, and you'll be notified on any future live streams or whenever I post a new video. Getting a lot of really great feedback about this new format and this rapid fire news update video format that I've been doing. And again, let me know in the comments below if you like it. If there's anything that you would add to the channel, I always love hearing from you, so always encourage that feedback. Also, haven't been feeling the greatest. I think I may have COVID. Had it before, and my whole body's aching, just sweating and getting cold and hot flashes, and very sensitive to touch, and been doing a lot of moving and whatnot, so I was excited to get back into the swing of things, and here we go. Lo and behold, I'm potentially sick with COVID. I'll have to do a test or something here, but hopefully I'll be back to normal in a couple of days. Make sure to give Pow Group a follow on X as well, which is the handle for that is at Group Pow. It's previously Twitter. So again, x.com. You can give us a follow there. And again, the handle for that is at Group Pow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. Also, we do have a sponsor for today's video, and that sponsor is called Mumu. You can take your investing game to the next level and redefine your stock trading. You can get up to $1,520 cash bonus as well. You can win up to $1,500 for a $3,000 deposit, win $20 for any amount of deposit, and level 2 market data, US and Canada, for free as well. So Mumu was founded by a NASDAQ-listed fintech with over 20 million users worldwide. They also provide visualized data over 100 indicators and other analyzing tools as well, all for free. So again, you can use this to trade US stocks. Fees are low and the trading hours are long. That's one thing I really like about this. You get 16-hour trading, so from 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. And you can use the app on desktop, phone, and tablet. But you can open your account today and, like I said, take advantage of that cash bonus. And I'll put the link in the description and in the comment section below. Also, already gone over this a few different times in a couple other videos, but Canopy growth, and I just posted a video as well, big week ahead for MJ stocks. If you haven't seen that, I highly encourage you to check that out. It was a deep dive. We do some analysis and charting as well, pretty much on all of the major MJ names in the sector. But big week ahead. We have Canopy growth to report second quarter fiscal 2024 financial results on November 9th. We also have Aurora as well on November 9th. SNDL will be on November 13th on Monday. And then we have TrueLeaf as well on the 9th. We also have the Florida hearing for the arguments for putting adult use legalization on the 2024 ballot, which we'll look at here in just a moment. Also, traffic fatalities dropped in states with legal weed, report shows. Driving deaths are up in general, but states with legal pot have fewer fatalities, dropping in some cases. So can we please share this around with, with those, politicians that are saying that, it's going to be zombies in the street and all of that nonsense that they're starting to, spew as we see this medicine of the future and amazing industry start to really gain traction and really start to become mainstream, right? And as we know, it's just not the case, right? Pretty much, 1 out of every 2 people have tried it, right? And here in Canada, it's been legal for 5 years, and we're just not seeing that, right? We're not seeing zombies in the streets. We're not seeing suicide rates go up. That's just all, nonsense. So share this around, contact your representatives as well, and let's spread the MJ gospel and get this out to as many people as possible, and make sure that our voices get heard, and let the politicians in your area know what we want and the people want is for this medicine. What people want is for this medicine of the future and amazing industry to flourish. Also, Blue Point Brewing, which is a subsidiary of Tillay, announces Cask Ales Festival and new beer lineup. A few other different products as well and brands that they've been adding to as well, which we'll look at here more in just a moment. Actually, I'll just bring it up right now, since it's more over on Tillay. Sweetwater Brewing Company launches special edition 420 IPA in partnership with the Georgia Aquarium, one of the top aquariums in the world. We know they have partnerships with Denver Broncos, in my opinion, Tillay easily going to be a top 5, at least in my opinion, MJ company globally, maybe even the top or top 3. But in my opinion, there's a good chance that, a very high chance that this could be the biggest MJ company on the planet when all is said and done. Also, Arkansas medical MJ sales exceed 211 million through Q3 of 2023. We also have MSOs uplisting shares in Canada with an eye on U.S. exchanges. I've done a video on this as well. I said, in my opinion, over the next, say 6 to 12 months, we're more than likely going to see MSOs, multi-state operators and producers in the U.S. uplist to U.S. major exchanges like the NASDAQ and the NYSE, right? And then we know TerraSen was the first MSO to uplist to the Toronto Stock Exchange, and then Curaleaf's looking to do so as well. You can see here Verano on the CBOE, and then, like I said, over the next 3, 6, 12 months, I think we're going to really start to see that uplisting mania kick into gear, right, with regards to uplisting to U.S. major exchanges. And that's, these Canadian exchanges are great, right? Like the TSX, going from the CSE, or, the NEO exchange, and then going to the TSXV or the TSX. But realistically, the floodgates and where most of the interest is going to lie is in the U.S. exchanges, right? Also, House lawmakers introduced bipartisan MJ legalization bill. So, U.S. House of Representatives last week refiled a bipartisan bill to legalize and regulate MJ at the national level. The legislation, known as the States Reform Act, was reintroduced by South Carolina Republican Representative Nancy Mace, according to a report from the online MJ news source MJ Moment. Mace first introduced the States Reform Act in 2021 with support for the Republican co-sponsors. So again, I'm not going to go into this in full detail, but essentially they talk about removing MJ from the controlled substances list. And this is a very important part that I want to share with everybody, but I encourage you to read this in your own time. But under the original version of Mace's bill, MJ would be removed from Schedule 1 and the Controlled Substances Act, which we know HHS has recommended Schedule 3, but keeping it on the Controlled Substances Act, just moving it from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. And then we're waiting on the DEA response now, and then if they approve it, then it goes to the DOJ and a few other regulatory hoops. But this would remove it from the Controlled Substances Act, which I think this would catch a lot of people off guard, right? A lot of people are probably expecting Schedule 3, myself included. I think they're going to take a crawl, walk, run approach. They're not just going to do it all in one go, right? But it's possible. There's a good chance that they could remove it from the Controlled Substances Act altogether. But moreover, here we go, more into this. The states would be allowed to take the lead on MJ legalization and regulation for their jurisdictions. At the federal level, MJ would be regulated like alcohol, with the U.S. Department of Agriculture responsible for regulating growers, while medical uses would be overseen by the FDA, Food and Drug Administration. So I've long said for many years now that, in my opinion, where we're going is MJ is going to be treated just like alcohol, right, and tobacco, and in my opinion, maybe even better, because it's medicine. It has medical properties. It's not poison, and not only does it have, that attractive recreational aspect, it's also helping a lot of people, right? It's helping with anxiety and stress and epilepsy and, all these other ailments that are really starting to, and there's more and more research that are that's coming every day, right? More studies and more research that we're just finding out, really tip of the iceberg of what this plant and medicine of the future can do, right? And we know that it's been, traced back to, thousands and thousands of years ago. It's been used for medical purposes, and then, especially in Eastern medicine, and, sedatives and things like that, right? So there's tons of applications for it, and there's only going to continue to be even more as we start to add more research and studying power, right? Because we know that Biden recently signed the research bill, and from there it's just been a cascading effect. But just keep in mind that this could easily get rescheduled to Schedule 3 and then ultimately descheduled and then treated just like alcohol, which in my opinion should be the way to go. Also, BZAM and 4C Labs conclude strategic distribution agreement for the UK market. And MJ Biz Daily reports that congressional MJ champion Blumenauer to retire. Now we just need Mitch McConnell to retire. But one of MJ Reform's staunchest advocates in Congress plans to retire. So Earl Blumenauer was who has represented Portland, Oregon, and local environs in the House of Representatives since 1996, said last week he will not seek re-election next year. So 75. I think McConnell's like in the 80s. So obviously, once we have, younger demographics start to take office and go into different parts of Congress, right? We're just going to see this medicine of the future accepted that much easier, right? Because of that younger demographic and that old stigma that, just continues to linger, right? And that has a lot to do with their demographic, the older demographic, the baby boomers. And this is unfortunate, but hopefully not too far around the corner, we see Mitch McConnell hang up his skates as well. Also, Ohio MJ legalization backers outrace opponents 3-1. Going to be another huge, important market. And then a study found that Ohio MJ legalization would generate $260 million in net economic benefits. So again, going to add tons of jobs, going to help the economy. And with the way the economy is going right now and into the next, potential 5 to 10 years, I think MJ is going to be at the forefront because the economy is definitely rocky, to say the least. Also, Florida Supreme Court schedules hearing to decide if MJ legalization initiative will make the 2024 ballot. So that I mentioned this earlier, and that's going to be on November 8th. So that'll be on Wednesday. So this is going to be a big week ahead for MJ stocks with a lot of earnings. Like I said, you got Canopy, you got Aurora, Trulieve, and just some of the big ones. And then you've got the Florida hearing on November 8th as well. Also, MJ company Air Wellness tackles debt with extension. We know that they've been really hindered by their debt at the moment. That's been a big concern among investors. But the multi-state operator Air Wellness is revamping its significant corporate debt and announcing several steps that include extending by 2 years the maturity date of its senior notes due in December 2024 in a deal which Air will issue new shares, a commitment for $50 million in additional debt financing, which would result in $40 million in cash for Air if funded, and amending a promissory note for the Nevada MJ retailer Live Free Wellness, with Air acquired as part of 2019 qualifying transaction. Just one moment. Sorry about that, folks. Still feeling the effects of this brutal sickness. Like I said, I'm not sure if it's COVID yet, but it definitely flares up in the evening, and not looking forward to this evening's sleep because, like I said, last night was pretty brutal. Study also finds that home values, study finds that home values higher in states with MJ that is legal. So home values in states that have legalized adult use MJ or medical MJ rose faster than real estate prices in other states, according to new research. And I will say that, as being from Canada, that makes a lot of sense to me. I certainly wouldn't want to go backwards, and maybe I would want to move to the States at some point. But right now, I take great pride in the fact that we've been legal at the federal level here for adult use here in Canada for over 5 years, right? And proud to be Canadian, and hopefully the U.S. can follow suit soon as well. And again, this is just testament to what this industry can do, right? And give the people what they want. And in my opinion, I'm very passionate about MJ. I'm also a big advocate of real estate. I own 4 condos now, and I sold some properties in Prince Edward Island before I moved here on the western coast, here in Edmonton, Alberta, and very big into real estate. My passion is MJ, but it makes sense because people want to move where they want to be where their passion is, right? And tons of people are passionate about this industry, and it's just all for the greater good, in my opinion. And it just shows where people's interests are, and like some people are just super diehard fans of MJ, right? And I know a ton of, like myself, moving from the East Coast to the West Coast. It's like night and day, right? In the East Coast in Prince Edward Island, we had like 3 MJ stores, and then you come to Edmonton, and it's almost like you never want to leave because there's like one on every block, right? And it's just the community here is amazing. Just not just from an MJ perspective, but the community as a whole. But specifically, the MJ community is just fantastic. And then you get, your names, like it's private here as well, so it's privatized, just like the alcohol industry here in Alberta. But yeah, it's once you go back, or once you go from this, you don't want to go back, right? And again, that's just more proof that this industry of the future and medicine of the future is going to be massive. And that really has to do with just people who absolutely love the plant and absolutely love the industry, right? Canadian MJ industry is also on track for record number of licensee exits. So this comes after the MJ Act is up for review here in Canada as well. But the Canadian MJ industry is on pace to see a record number of federal licenses revoked this fiscal year, largely at the request of companies themselves, according to new data filed from Health Canada. So again, this is going to just push the government here and the feds in Canada. And we know they've already said that it's time for them to start to step up and support the MJ industry, right? So it's been after 5 years now, and we know there's still a lot of things hindering this industry. So I think we're going to see major changes coming for the Canadian MJ market as well. Also, Illinois MJ sales slip in October. They were down slightly sequentially to 138.8 million, a decrease of 0.6% from September despite the extra day. The gain was 5.5% higher from a year ago. Also, High Tide restructures 8.9 million of outstanding secured debt. We also have True Leave launching campaign to support veterans, partners with Disabled American Veterans, DAV. And we have, this is awesome. Trump team says DeSantis should use MJ edibles to deal with presidential campaign stress. Yeah, I had a good chuckle at this whenever I seen this, and we're just starting to see MJ, even though this is kind of in a joking sense, right? We're starting to see more and more, people who are running put this into their campaigns. And speaking of adding it to their campaigns, RFK Jr. releases presidential campaign ad calling for MJ legalization to end addiction, right? And we know that we have an opioid crisis around the world, and MJ can substitute for a lot of those pain relief and all of these applications. So again, I think leading into an election year as well, I think MJ is really going to jump into the spotlight here over the next few years, especially leading into an election year. But we'll see. We'll continue to watch these different election campaigns and political parties that are running, and see to what degree they make MJ a part of their campaign. And I'm not on either side of the aisle. I really do not care. I'm like the least political person in the world. All I want is for people to win who are MJ advocates, right? I just want what's best for this industry. Also, Texas activists collected enough signatures to put MJ decriminalization on another local ballot. So game theory playing out. We're just going to continue to see this trend play out. Also, Willie Nelson, who is he's on the an advisor, I think, for NORML. I've interviewed Morgan Fox at NORML. They're a nonprofit that lobbies U.S. government, and he has an MJ brand. It's called Willie's Reserve, and it's now available at Puff dispensaries and several other retailers throughout Michigan. So, an icon. If anybody's tried that, let me know. I'd be curious to try it out one of these days. MJ MSO MedMen also delays filing of 2023 financials. So multi-state operator MedMen Enterprises says it will be late to file its annual financial report for its 2023 fiscal year ended July 1st. So this is a name that I own a small position of. I think it's great risk to reward. Definitely has its troubles, but like I said, I definitely think that the reward is worth the risk. Also, Wisconsin could see nearly $170 million annually in MJ revenue under top Democratic senators' legalization bill, state analysts estimate. So, again, adding more jobs, more tax revenue, and just giving the people what they want and helping people, like I said, with this medicine of the future. And this is just going to be continuing to play out, in my opinion, this game theory playing out. More and more states decriminalize, legalize, right? And at some point, they're going to either legalize medical and then legalize full-blown recreational as well. And that's something the U.S. could do at the federal level as well. They could legalize medical MJ. There's so many catalysts that are coming up, right? We have Florida potentially on the ballot. We have Ohio, another important market. We have Germany coming online. We have the MJ Act up for review here in Canada. And we have uplisting the NYSE and NASDAQ, safer banking. We've got HHS rescheduling. We've got bipartisan bill set to potentially remove it from the Controlled Substances Act. So there's so many catalysts at the moment, even though it's not really translated in the price. And I know it's a brutal time to be an MJ investor. It's, you got investor fatigue. It's just very frustrating. You've got all these different politicians that are putting politics ahead of sound policy. And this isn't the first time that they've done that, right? This is sort of basically their bread and butter. This is what they do with every new emerging and burgeoning industry. And MJ will be no different, right? They did the same thing with alcohol. They did the same thing with big tech and the internet. And MJ will be no different, in my opinion. But like I said, never been a more exciting time to be in MJ, minus the share prices, right? And we know that the market can stay irrational longer than we can stay solvent. And it's just a matter of time before we start to see this industry turn it around. And like I said, in my opinion, I'm just grateful to be here. There's never been a better time to be alive, in my opinion, and investing in MJ with so many catalysts ahead. And the big one being U.S. legalization, which will only ever happen once. And I think our children and children's children are going to look back and be very, very envious at the fact that we had this opportunity, even though it may not feel like opportunity at the moment. But things can change in a hurry. All right, going to end it there. It's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. And let me know what you think of this new format in the comment section below. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you again on the next video.